at that time, I do not, oh, it's just a reminder also that Friday, the junior optimists at the high school will be meeting for their monthly meeting. And OI representative Chris Kaiser has given the forms for any student who would like to participate in the essay contest. So maybe by Friday that we will have a list of candidates who would like to participate in that essay contest on Friday. Okay, Farrell, would you like to present our speaker?
I will. This is Michelle McDaniel. Michelle has been a family and consumer science teacher for many years, and now she's in a new assignment she's going to tell us about. And she's going to tell about her journey, her life's journey through education over several years, and what she's doing currently. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me to be here, Dr. Miller. And Dr. Miller hired me, I think 35 years ago, to teach at Junction City Middle School, to teach family and consumer science. But my interest in education, and so right now, I guess let's start and then we'll work backwards. Right now, I'm an ed tech coach in the district, or also known as an instructional technologist, where I go into classrooms and I support teachers with their technology and support any projects or things that they want to work on that has technology that they're not very comfortable with. I can teach it for them initially. I can co-teach with them. I meet with them ahead of time and we go over, the ins and outs of the program or the website or whatever it is that they want to use. And depending on their comfort level, that's where either I teach it or I co-teach it with them, or I'm just in there as support while they are teaching. And so that's kind of what my current position is. And I'll go a little bit more into that later. But my love of education and technology started a long time ago. Kind of how I got to where I am today is as a youth, I was in 4-H. And so I don't know how many of you in here are familiar with 4-H. I know Buzz is familiar with Extension. Anyway, so I grew up in the extension area, and I really wanted to be a home ec agent, a home economist in Extension. And the college degree that I needed for that was the same as being a home ec teacher. So you had to get that education degree. So I went through college, did my student teaching at Manhattan Middle, I think it was back then. And then right after I graduated, I did an internship in Extension in Wabaunsee County for the summer, and found out that what I thought I loved wasn't really what I maybe wanted to do. I did love education. I did love my passion for going into education from Extension as a youth was I love the fact that they could help people find answers to the information that they needed. And I really enjoyed my student teaching experience. My internship experience wasn't as strong as I'd liked. I wasn't out there working with as many people as I wanted to. And so I got hired for Junction City Middle School to be a family and consumer science teacher. And all the while, we were starting to get technology in our homes. We were starting to get home computers in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And we had, when my husband and I got married in 89, had gotten a home computer from his godmother as a college gift and kind of a marriage gift so that we could do whatever homework that we needed to do, which was amazing because she was in her 80s in 1989 and she knew that a computer was going to be important for us. And so that's where that kind of started. And while I was in college, I worked in the home ed office in the College of Education, and they had just gotten computers in there and they had taken out typewriters. And so the two professors that I worked under in the home ed department did not know how to run a computer. And so I was in charge of doing all their computer work for them that they had to do. And then when I got out into the schools, we had our desktop computers that we kept our grades and other things on. And then over time, we got computer carts. And I was lucky enough as an elective teacher. Our computer, so we had multiple computer carts in the building. You'd have one per grade level, and then you had one for the electives. And very few electives needed the computers. We had a computer teacher, but they already had a classroom set in their classroom. And so I quickly volunteered and I said, I've got a big room. I can keep the computer cart in my room. And I would use it as often as I could to start integrating technology with students. And then taught home ec, family and consumer science for 21 years. And Dr. Miller wasn't there anymore. And my new principal came up to me, and it was at the end of school year. And basically, I had an opportunity to start a new class. They wanted another technology class. They had lost a drama teacher. The drama teacher had moved. And they said, would you be willing to teach a technology class? And so I looked into it to make sure that it was going to work out with my certification and my licensure, to make sure that I wasn't shooting myself in the foot. And I then took on a brand new class called multimedia, where I got to develop the curriculum for it, which I was used to because in family consumer science, I developed my own curriculum there too. But when I taught multimedia for 10 years, we did, some very basic introduction to technology with the students, and basics that they can take, and it will go across all sorts of things that they would have to do. How do you organize your files? How do you save your files? How do you upload something? How do you download something? But then projects that I would do, I did several different kinds of graphic design projects, photography, photo editing. We did some CAD projects, computer assisted design, and drafting projects where they had to create their own house and furniture within the house, and they created it from scratch. They weren't grabbing rooms or furniture to drag in there. They were building it in the program. And then I also did coding and game design and coding and animation. So we did some animation and some game design where they made really simple video games. And then we also did some video projects as well. And there was a friend of mine in the building who she had been an ed tech coach or an instructional technologist for a while. And I had always looked at her job going, I really like that, because she's working with both teachers and kids. And, along the way, as a family consumer science teacher, I had student teachers on a pretty regular basis for many years. And I was in the mentoring program and mentored younger teachers. I liked being with my students in the classroom and helping my students get those aha moments or those creative moments, figuring out that they could do something that they didn't ever know that they could do. But I also liked helping the adults, which takes me back to kind of that extension background that I originally wanted to do. Because extension, if you're familiar with that, that is where you are a teacher within the community. You can teach the young to the old. And that kind of took me back to what I originally wanted to do. So I always looked at my friend in the building going, gosh, I really like her. I think her job would be a really nice next step for me. And the district had an opening, not at Junction City Middle, but more at the district level. And so I am now I support 3 buildings. I support Junction City Middle. That's my new building this year because my friend, who I really liked her job, she's in a new position this year. And I support Fort Riley Middle and I support Morris Hill Elementary. And I'm in and out of classrooms, doing a variety of supporting work with the elementary kids at Morris. They have me in the classroom a lot. Do things with pre-K up through 5th. Some teachers have me in quite a bit. Some have me in once a quarter. And so it kind of depends on their technology level, what they want to integrate in that technology level. But with the elementary kids, we've done video. I do a lot of video projects, a lot of green screen projects with them. We do a lot of projects in Canva, which is kind of a graphic design program, similar to PowerPoint, if you're familiar with PowerPoint. And we do some PowerPoint with the kids. Done some and storyboard that where they've created cartoons to show their learning about, if it's 2nd grade and they're learning about Greek mythology, going in and creating a cartoon about whatever Greek god, for example, that they are learning about, and they get to move, make those characters into whatever positions and backgrounds and put in speech bubbles, and then below it they have a place for their writing. So they've done a pre-writing activity before I come in, and then they have to show in that storyboard or in that cartoon their writing, and then they have to do the formal writing below each cell of the cartoon. So those are some examples of some things that I do at the elementary. Middle school, I'm not in the classroom as much. Middle school teachers, and I understand this because that's where I lived most of my career, they want to know, how do we do this? How can I implement this with my kids? What can I do? Do you have ideas about what can I do as an extension activity to what we're learning right now to help them dig deeper, to do something that's just not the same old worksheet, or, give them a different outlet to show their learning. And so they're more, how do I do it? Can you show me what tools? And occasionally they'll have me in, but they're more of the, show me how to do it and I'll go do it myself. But so that's kind of where I'm at and where I've come from. I know you had said that maybe they would have questions
Well,
or
sure they will.
questions. Yes.
I got one for you. So you've been doing this for a long time.
Education in general, yes.
Yeah, but then the technology is what's really fascinating. I know it happened slow for you because it happened with time, but how different is it for you from when you first started teaching technology to the children, to what your base level was that you taught to now when you go into a base level?
Oh, incredibly different.
Yeah, and was that hard to adjust to, or did it just happen
It
so
just
gradually?
happened. I did take, the district had a lot of, over the years, they had different technology classes they would offer teachers. We went through a couple of phases. We had, oh gosh, and that might have been when you were there, Dr. Miller. I can't remember that we had the ITI classes, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember what ITI. I'm sure the T was technology. Instructional technology integration, maybe. I can't remember what ITI stood for, but I took all the ITI classes. They had different levels, and at different levels, if you completed so many classes within that level, you got like some bonus items. Like I got a camera, I got a video camera at one point, and then at one point I got a smart board and a projector before anybody else, before they were throughout the district. So, and that was when I completed level 3 of ITI, which was as far as you could go. And now the district offers other ETC classes, similar, and I did those before I got into the job that I'm in now. So that was kind of some of my additional training along the way. But, like you said, when we started, we thought we were doing great if, you had the kids get in a Word document or in a PowerPoint. And now you got them out using all sorts of programs, like I told you. And now we've got AI, and we have to talk to kids and teach kids how to responsibly use AI. You don't use it to necessarily do your writing for you, but you can use it. You can take your writing and put it in there and have AI help you to analyze your writing. You can have AI help you to create a picture based off of your writing and things like that. So it's that responsible use, and because all they want to do is have it do the work for them. And so trying to teach that responsibility. Speaking of AI, that we have a really fun tool that is available. It's a website that they can have conversations with historical figures. And as a teacher, you set it up on the backside. Okay, these are the things that I want it to talk about, or this is the age of the student that I have, and this is what I've been teaching. And so if they want a conversation with Frederick Douglass, then those students could have a conversation with Frederick Douglass. Same program I used with fourth grade last year, and it's AI, and they were writing fairy tales, and we used it as a brainstorming tool. So on the backside, we said, okay, this is for a fourth grade class. They are creating a fairy tale. Could you act as the fairy godmother and lead them through brainstorming plot, characters, villain, setting, all of those things? And it was amazing. The kids that, because when you turn kids loose on a project like that, you're always going to have a handful of students that come up to your desk and go, I can't think of anything. Can you help me think of something? I don't know what to write. And it popped up and said, hello, I'm your fairy godmother today. Where would you like your fairy tale to be set? And the kids be like, they type in there and there's, I want it to be in a magical forest. And it gives them positive feedback. And it's like, great. A magical forest sounds amazing. What is your magical forest like? And so then they would, oh, it's dark, but it's got, and they would do some describing to the AI, and the AI would go, oh, that's really interesting. Do you have a villain for your story? And it just helped them. It did not. And one of the things you put in the background is don't give them any answers. Don't write the story for them. And it did a fantastic job of leading them through that brainstorming process. And then the teacher didn't have that whole group of kids around their desk saying, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what to write. I'm stumped. I can't think of anything, because this walked them through having them come up with their own ideas. So it's pretty fantastic.
How many people in the school district are in your position? How many of you are there?
There was 6 until this year. Now there's 5, because the teacher at Junction City Middle that I'd always kind of thought that's the type of job that I would like to have. She got moved into a different position, and they did not rehire for that position just to support Junction City Middle, because she supported Junction City Middle alone. And so since they didn't rehire for that position, for that tech support at Junction City Middle, where your wife is.
Yeah.
So now I'm covering that building as well. So there are 5 of us. There's one at the high school, full-time. And then the other 4 of us cover the rest of the buildings in the district.
Does the school district have a plan implemented that, let's say I want to be a computer technician when I grow up? Is there, through the academies and all the stuff, is there a way that you can fast track a child, or,
The students at the high school have the pathways. And I guess before I finish answering that, let me clarify. So I don't tear apart a computer and fix it.
Right.
I help to implement the technology. And a lot of people think, oh, can you fix my computer? It's not working. I can look at your computer and see if I can tell if it's something software wise, do we need to shut it back down? Do we need to run updates? Are you not signed in right?
No, I
But
need
as far as,
technology.
Yeah. Being a computer technician.
Yeah.
The pathways at the high school, yes, there are pathways that students can go into for that. At the high school, the ed tech coach at the high school, she has something called the Beak Squad. So if you've heard of Geek Squad through Best Buy, where they go fix your computers, she has the Beak Squad at the high school that consists of students where other students can bring their computers in. And so these kids, it's a group of kids who are very good with computers. And they're not tearing apart and fixing them,
Right.
but they are doing part of that initial triage of why is your computer not working? Okay, can we fix it here? Can we help you with this? Or do we need to send it to the library so that the library can turn your computer in for the actual computer technicians? But yes, there are pathways at the high school as far as fast tracking them to actually tear apart a computer and fix it. We don't probably have a fast track for that, but Beak Squad would be kind of the second best because, our computer technicians in the district that actually go out and fix student and staff computers, they have to do that initial troubleshooting before they start digging into that
Right.
device. So I think the Beak Squad's a good step toward that.
I am really glad that glad that you brought brought all that stuff up because at my church right now because I do all the live streaming, I do all the creative and all that stuff. So now I'm on Chat GPT,
Uh-huh.
11 Labs. I use Copilot on the
Uh-huh. Yes.
on the 365. So yeah, it is fantastic. What you can do. I can do images, I can do videos.
It's fantastic and scary all at
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
time.
it is.
Yes.
And trying to explain that to my church, church members, they kind of just look, huh? Yeah, I said, well, yeah. But at the school, do the kids sometimes go to Chat GPT and try to get on there, or?
They do. ChatGPT has a minimum age for, creating an account,
Oh, okay.
which your elementary and middle school kids do not qualify for, but that does not mean that they don't have an account because we know that there's a lot of kids out there on social media, and social media also has those minimum ages for safety, and kids get around that. So we try to have, like I said, that responsible AI conversation, and we try to lead them toward things that are age appropriate. But does that keep them from getting on those things? It does not.
And 11 Labs too. That is voiceover, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that is scary also.
Yes.
Of 11 Labs. If you don't use that responsibly, then it can really go into something that you don't want to go into.
That's why there's so many deep fakes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
So we try to steer them toward things that are age appropriate, but there are students who go out there and try to write their paper on some sort of an AI tool, or have the AI tool write their paper for them. And teachers can spot that because most of the time the students that are going to try to do that, their writing isn't what AI would write. The language used, the depth of language, the depth of ideas isn't what that particular student would typically do. So teachers catch that pretty quickly. And there's not any tools to definitively tell if a student is using AI. There's some things that you can do to better guess that they're using it.
with my church, church stuff, I'll write something, I'll write, and then I just have, like Chat GPT, just clean it up a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly.
So it look better.
And that's the use that we want. We want students to do their own thinking, their own writing. And if they use AI, then have it help give you that immediate feedback. Because, and I'm not a language arts teacher, but I can't even imagine you get, if you're, I'm thinking middle school or high school, and you have 100+ essays that get turned into you. And the quicker you can turn around that feedback for the student, the better. But being able to sit down and read through and give critical feedback to that many students is a very, very timely process. And so we do have a couple of things that we use in the district that can give students will take their writing. They've either handwritten it and they can take a picture and upload it, or they can type it and they can put it into a couple of those safer AI engines that are appropriate for their age. And it will give them immediate feedback on their writing. And it is pretty fantastic, but we don't have them, at least what I'm familiar with at the middle level where we use some of those. We don't use the Chat GPT for that. We use one that's more age appropriate. But it saves so much time for that language arts teacher. And that doesn't mean that it's doing the language arts teacher's job and they're not doing their job anymore. It's just a quick tool to get that feedback, because then it gives the students the feedback. Like you said, it cleans it up. And then the student hands in the final project, because that website isn't grading it for the teacher.
No.
And it helps that student, oh, you've got mistakes here, or you forgot punctuation there, or could you give more detail here? And then they turn in their final paper to the teacher. Then the teacher does, do their grading. Then the teacher will give final feedback. But it's that work in progress feedback that AI can be really helpful with.
Well, they could actually fix it if they wanted to, because all they have to do is if you use AI, is they put a watermark on it.
Yes.
But right now they want to get everybody hooked and in there. So maybe in 3 or 4 years, they'll start putting watermarks on them, and that problem goes away. That's simple.
There's,
Subscription, some of them have watermark. You buy
Yeah, they want to get
Well,
everybody involved in the product.
Yeah. Okay, with the Heaven Labs, I have a prescription for that, that I pay $22 a month on, but I'm gonna tell you, it has saved me a lot of time on my church stuff and all that stuff. I mean, I love it.
And I'm like you, I use AI every day, every single day, Canva, but the amazing thing is that some of the younger people taught me how to use it.
I taught myself because I'm sitting there.
Well, I did a lot of that too, but a lot of them, I'd go to somebody younger, hey, how I do this, and oh yeah, so it's kind of cool to have the young people teaching old, I guess, but, my concern is though, even using AI and being guilty of it, and I think it's great for teachers. I don't see any real danger in that at all, because it's just a tool it's an additional tool a teacher uses to become more efficient, to have more time to engage with students, and I support that. My fear is that just like Word document, I think Word document crippled the nation in spelling.
yes. Oh, yes.
And AI, I'm scared for our youth that it's going to do the same thing in grammar and the English language. That's where my concern comes in.
And just because I teach technology, just because I support technology, there is definitely a need for paper and pencil, because the handwriting itself has suffered.
Oh, yeah, they can't.
Even my handwriting has changed because I'm on the computer so much and I don't write as much. There's still a really large need for them to have that skill. And just we think about kids and their video games and just their connection to technology and addiction to technology. It's keeping them from so many things. So yes, I am a big supporter of technology, but I'm also a big supporter of, okay, those kids need to get outside and play. They still need to cut. They still need to glue. They still need to write with paper pencil. Those are all skills that we can't give that up, or it changes who they are. Like you said, it changes their grammar, because it's so much of it, that autocorrect or that predictive text does that thinking for them. I mean, when you're on your phone and you're texting, It gives you predictive text. It recognizes what might be the next word or set of words that you are going to say.
Y'all keep signing now, shoot,
Yeah.
shoot.
It-
You only,
But,
after
you know-
you use a pen, pencil, nothing to sign, they'll
Yeah.
give you different versions of what you want, then you press it, then it's signed for you.
But I don't think we teach enough that, AI is often wrong about it.
It
And
is.
we don't talk about that.
It is.
You know, it's like if I do AI or those type of things, it's gonna make everything right, but that's not true because it doesn't get it right.
The
all the
AI,
time.
they call it hallucinations.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny, and it's interesting if you put something into one AI tool, whether it be ChatGPT, Copilot, Grok, Claude, any of those, and then take and put that same thing into a different AI tool because they're all kind of built with a different
Different.
mindset,
Mhm.
and to compare those and see how many mistakes. So I've taught my sister recently, within the last year or so, I kind of introduced her to AI, and she's 70 now. She's retired, and she now loves AI. And but she does that. She's in several different book clubs. She lives down by Atlanta, so she is involved in several different book clubs. I'm not sure how she keeps up with all the books she has to read. But she will, after she reads a book, she will go into AI and kind of have a book chat about it before she goes to book club, to make sure she's got all the details. And she put it into one AI and she's like, that's wrong. That's not how that happened in that book. And she puts it into another one and it was correct. So yeah, you can, and we do introduce some of that to students. But it's hard because time constraints, because you've got to devote some time to that, to have them understand that they've got to do their own research and they have to review it. They just can't have AI spit something out for them and they trust that it's correct.
And do we let kids know, just how incorrect the internet is? I mean, because it used to be a little bit, but I would say now 60% of what you get on the internet is
Depending on what you click
disinformation.
on.
Yeah.
Depending on what you, and
Yeah,
those baited clicks that
yeah.
are toward the top are what kids are going to click on. We have lessons, library lessons, for students that go through those kinds of topics. Unfortunately, we probably don't spend as much time as we could in schools, going over that with them, because that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with
Yeah.
lifelong, because we know this isn't going away. And when I'm talking, I also want to cautionary here, when I'm talking about AI, we're not using it, students aren't using it very much in the district. We're just using it here and there. But it is something that responsibly we have to eventually teach them about and how to responsibly use it.
Yeah, I know in the AI, like you're talking about, sometimes you can have, I use Gemini more than anything, but, ChatGPT, for example, will give you some bad information. Gemini too, but ChatGPT, I know will do this, because I've seen it when I put data in and, wanting it to compile the data so it's not big and long. And I'll look at it, and that ain't right. And I tell it, hey, you ain't right. And it'll sit there and think for a minute, and say, oh, I apologize, you're correct. So it'll actually acknowledge its own
Yeah, and
mistakes,
And that's the important part with, because it's constantly learning, is that you do give it, if you are using it, give it that feedback and say, that's not correct. The way you put that together, those are incorrect details, because that's going to help it continue to learn and get better.
Right. That was my point, is that, if we emphasize this to kids, then, maybe they won't be so quick to try to have it do everything for them, because, right now, the brain is still number one, but,
And honestly, it's our brains that built the internet, put that information out on the internet, and it's, collective human brains that AI is drawing that information
I would
from.
hate to be in the education system right now because of disinformation. you know, and I just think that's so unfair, but, I mean, you know, it's not us, you
It
know.
does add a challenge.
It does.
It does
adds-
add a
it's
layer of-
unnecessary.
A layer of challenge on top of all of our other educational challenges that we have.
It makes me think back to the movie, and I don't remember the name of the movie, but it's a movie back about NASA. And, it was when, African Americans weren't accepted into society, but they had this woman that worked at NASA.
Oh, yeah.
She was,
Figures?
yeah, he was
Yeah.
like as
Mhm.
Einstein.
Yeah.
around, you know.
I mean, she got on that
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what back then it was just, it was a movie, you know, with a different basis. But now you think about it now, how many people could go up to that chalkboard and do
And
today
do,
what
yeah.
she did back then? And so what I'm saying is technology being great. And it is helpful and it is more efficient and I'm all on board with it. But I still see the danger in it is depleting ability of the individual. Cause you probably couldn't find nobody today. You'd be hard to find somebody that could go up and work the math that
Well,
lady
the
was
old
working.
saying is so true. Technology is great when it works.
Yeah. You know, cause if we'd had computers back then and we might, maybe or may not have been able to bring them home safely.
Yeah.
Cause you know, we would have parameters in the computer to run, but outside them parameters.
Now, we weren't bringing them little 50-pound boxes home.
Yeah.
I guess we better have to stop because I'm.
Michelle, thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Michelle, before we close off, we have
We get to choose the ticket of the winner.
yes,
That's exciting.
the last three numbers.
All three people.
266.
266.
Who's our winner?
Buzz.
Buzz, you're the winner.
All right.
Thank you.
Next week, we'll have two students and their parents from St. Xavier's. We'll recognize them as student of the quarter.